NDC Member of Parliament Roxin Dafiambo says he is being targeted as some personnel from the State Housing Company Limited demolished his three-story building. The Member of Parliament says he has become a target for some state agencies as a team believed to be from the State Housing Limited demolished his three-story building and other structures on a parcel of land at Adenta, Frafraha. Mr. Dafiambo says the people did not have a court order to demolish the property and that he would pursue the matter in court.
We are at Adenta, Frafraha, specifically we are at Frafraha here, and we understand that some demolition happened early this morning. We didn't come to meet the heavily armed police officers who were here to ensure that the demolition was, carried out. We understand they left about 30 minutes ago, together with the earth-moving machines that came here to, demolish the structures here. A lot of them, some of them high, one-story buildings. Some of them also single rooms. Different structures, have been demolished here, and we still have some people around, wondering how the people came in here to demolish the buildings. They say they believe they are from the State Housing Company Limited. One of the people whose house was demolished is a member of parliament for South Dai, Honorable Roxin Dafiambo. He's here with me, and I want him to join us to tell us exactly what happened, whether he was here when the demolition happened. Mr. Dafiambo, you're welcome to join us.
Thank you very much.
Tell me, at what point did you get information that your building was also, affected here?
Yes, that's my building in the background, the rubble that you see. It's a three-story building which is being roofed at the roof stage. We're just waiting to put the finishing touches. This was a land we got from the chiefs. In any case, if State Housing thinks that this is their land, and it's been encroached upon, the due process of law is there. You have to go to court so that I come and defend my interest in the land. You just don't wake up one day and bring an earth-moving machine and pull down my building without any recourse to me. I've been placing a call to the MD since yesterday. I've sent him messages, he will not answer. I've called all the powers that be. That this thing, the MP, my colleague, Yabuabian was with me this dawn. And he was also helpless. Nobody will answer. And it's a very pitiful situation that you claim that the land is for you, you move in with bulldozer. And look, this construction didn't happen in a day. This construction is over a 2 years period. And so if you don't wait for somebody to dig a foundation, pour concrete, put iron rods, roof, and then you come and say it's yours. No, you have acquiesced. I am not saying by any stretch of imagination that I didn't get this land properly. I got the land through the appropriate vendor. And so if another entity, which is a state institution, if you think, look, I don't think this is a demolition, quad demolition. This is a targeted demolition.
What makes you think it's a targeted demolition? The State Housing Company saying that you've encroached on their lands.
Look at the buildings around. There's a building behind you. There are so many buildings. Look at how a building that is before me has been spared, because they told me that he placed a call to somebody and they gave instructions that building should be left out. It's only 4 buildings that have been pulled down. This one, the other one, mine, and some other one. What they did was because they didn't want the thing to look like a targeted demolition, then they broke a few fence walls and left.
I'm sure they gave you prior notice before they came to do this.
Nothing. I speak to you. When I spoke, there's a chap called Soa. He claimed to be the surveyor from State Housing. When I spoke to him, he said, Honorable, I am speaking to you because I respect you. Otherwise, I won't speak to you. I have nothing. I just have instructions from my company to come and do the demolition. If you are aggrieved, go to court. And walked off. Just like that. I live at Achimota. I got here from at about 4:30 when my developer called me yesterday night to say that this was the intelligence he had picked up that this will happen. I couldn't believe it, because I even thought that, look, 2 police vehicles and soldiers were here, and I have the numbers of the vehicle. I'm a legal practitioner. If you get a judgment from a court with a writ of possession order, and you even want to recover your land. The processes that you go through the police before they give you 3 personnel or 4 personnel, it is not a joke. They sometimes they even demand that they want to see the judgment, even with a writ of possession order from a court. They will further demand to see the judgment whether indeed the judge decreed that you should have possession of the land.
Now you
so under what circumstances did the combined team of police and army accompanied people from State Housing to this place? There's no court process. I have not been served with any court notice.
They didn't even put an inscription on the building?
No, I speak to you on authority.
But I mean, do you know that the lands belongs to the State Housing Company?
No, I'm a lawyer. I've done a lot of cases around State Housing. I know State Housing is in court with some people. Some of the cases I have done, but this one, it's not for them. If this land is for them, what is the acreage? This is less than a 3-acre land. That I acquired about 2 plots. Another has acquired about 3 plots. Others 1 plot. How would you be doing this demolition without recourse to the entire area?
So what are you going to do now? The 3-story building has been pulled down. What are you going to do?
It's now a rubble. I'm distraught now, but because this is
to pursue.
Yes, indeed. This is, even if it takes 10 years, I will pursue them in court. Believe you me, I will have my day in court in this matter. So I'm just putting them on notice, because Sowa told me that if I'm aggrieved, I should go to court. They will meet me in court. So, and I'm a lawyer. I'm a lawyer of repute. So I will advise myself in the matter.
Okay. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. But if you want to
just you just heard from the member of parliament for South Dai, Roxin Dofiamakpo, telling us how his 3-story building was actually pulled down by persons believed to be from the State Housing Company. They are saying that they've encroached on their lands here and they moved in this dawn to demolish the buildings. There's another man here also whose structure was demolished. Can you tell us what structure exactly is it?
Well, it's a single-story building, 3-bedroom all ensuite, and so you know what I'm talking about. I mean, almost it's gotten to the level where we need to just put finishing touches to it. I mean, I'm talking about fittings and all that. So, yes, we're there, as Honorable just mentioned, just yesterday. No, actually, this dawn, that somebody called us, and in fact the person who called us is a squatter in the building. We asked the person to stay there, caretaker, excuse me, and then he called us that it's happening this dawn. Then we were alarmed, so I had to rush in there, and truly, I mean, it was happening. I couldn't help it because there were police presence and military.
Do you have the necessary documentation that proves that the land belongs to you?
Sure. I mean, I'm also a developer, so apart from this one that I'm doing for myself, I have other, and I know the processes. In fact, this place has 2 fashions, the Frafraha, and then some Queen Mother 2 is involved. We've seen all of them, and they are aware we are doing this thing. I have my documentation, I have everything. And with buildings, you do your searches and all those things. We did all that. We didn't hear of State Housing Company. All that happened was that after we had started building, I think some few, when we got to the lintel or something, then we came one day and saw an inscription on the building that State Housing, whatever, bring your document.
When did you see this?
Just like about when we started, some few months after we had started. So we went there. We went there, we opened the file, and they said, okay, this is what has happened. They acquired the land some years back. It was given to them, well, blah, blah, blah. So they said, if we want the land back, we need to open a file, and they will look at it and give us, give it back to us. There's a process to it. So that is what is ongoing. We've done that, and it's ongoing. So if there is anything like demolition happening, at least you need to bring the stakeholders together, like myself, the Honorable, and other people, because the demolition that has happened, it involves quite a number of people. Bring us together, give us notices, let us know the roadmap, what we are supposed to do.
How Dofiamakpo says is going to pursue this. Is it the same for you too?
Why not? I mean, if you have an investment worth over 200,000 Ghana cedis in this, you just wake up and it's gone. What would you do? You tell me.
I can see tears welling up in your eyes.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell from the camera. I'm quite young. I mean, working so hard, acquiring something that you want to live on. You know the circumstances within which we are in this country, and you've been able to do this, and just by some circumstances which is beyond you. You don't even know what is happening. You just happen to see that it's gone down the drain.
Getting a bit emotional here at Adenta Frafraha, but that is what it is right now. These buildings have been pulled down. This one is a 3-story building belonging to the Member of Parliament for South Dai. Another one belonging to the gentleman that we just spoke to. There are other residents living here who are also going around looking at their structures. About 15 of them, all of them, demolished here at Frafraha.
Maxwell Agbagba with that report. Now, 400 kilograms of pangolin scales worth $1.2 million have been seized by Malaysian custom officials from Ghana. This was revealed by Executive Director at the Wildlife Division of the Forestry Commission, Nana Kofi Edunsia, at a media briefing in Accra. The Executive Director says there are only 8 species of pangolin worldwide. Therefore, if much attention is not given, they will be extinct.
Ghana took that decision in 1971, when we promulgated our laws. Pangolin is in Appendix 1, that is Schedule 1 of the national law. And we were not even allowing the hunting, capturing, or destruction of pangolin in any place. Before, even globally, we all saw that if we don't act fast, we're going to deplete all these animals. So Ghana really took that decision for a very long time. The increased demand for these weak creatures, if you see pangolin, as soon as you touch it, it calls for you to pick it. And people have taken advantage of that and harvesting them. So what is happening is that for about a decade ago, about 1 million pangolins have been taken from African and Asian forests. So it's becoming alarming, bringing them, that is their population, into a very critical low numbers. So when we heard this news, together with our colleagues with the intelligence unit of the NACOP Control Board, because internationally we see wildlife crime as cocaine. That is related. So the Narcotics Control Board also, when we discussed them, pick the information and work on it. Then on the 27th July, the agent whose name came during the investigation, One Prosper Kumako, was arrested and sent to the office of the Narcotics Control Board for interrogation. He admitted having facilitated the exportation of the pangolin scales from Ghana to Malaysia. He confessed that this export on the 13th June 2017 was the 3rd time that he has exported pangolin scales from Ghana to Malaysia. The last but one was done on the 5th of June 2017, and he further admitted that in all these exports, it was named oyster shells. So they did it undercover, not as pangolin scales, but as oyster shells. Then one Prince Enim, also an agent, an accomplice, who used his documents to facilitate the exportation, was arrested the same day. And during interrogation, he also admitted having used his document to do the exportations. Prosper mentioned one Robert Kunu as the owner who brought the pangolin scales to be exported on all the 3 occasions. On 29 July 2017, Robert Kunu was arrested. And during interrogation, he also admitted exporting the seized pangolin scales in Malaysia and the other 2 mentioned earlier on. He also mentioned that the total number of exports he has done is 5, 2 in 2016 and then 3 this year, because they are seeing it to be a lucrative business now, so the imports are increasing.
He also indicated the Commission's readiness to collaborate with other stakeholders to bring the act to a halt.
Robert further mentioned that one Lee, a Chinese, as a source of supply. According to Robert, Lee sends him the stock through an accomplice in Nigeria. Then Robert facilitated the exportation from Ghana to Malaysia. He explained that he received the stock through Nigerian bus station, and then he gave the China and Nigerian phone numbers of the people connected for further investigation. He also explained that Lee do send money to him through his friends in Ghana for the processing fee as well as his commissions. Robert, since his arrest, is currently assisting in further investigations at the Criminal Investigation Department headquarters of the Ghana Police. In conclusion, it is becoming evidently clear that some of the wildlife traffickers are using Ghana as transit destination to operate their nefarious activities. And we would like to send a message to them that they have no place in Ghana. We will smoke them out. We are going to intensify our collaboration with the customs, police, NACOP, airport officials, informants, our intelligence networks, media men, and all of us around here to combat this crime. We will plead with you all to join us in combating wildlife crime in Ghana to make Ghana a place to live. Otherwise, if we continue the trafficking, we are going to get people using the money they are getting from this trafficking to destabilize the country.
As part of activities marking the Ghana 60 celebrations, a commemorative program celebrating the 70th anniversary of the first political party in Ghana, the United Gold Coast Convention, the first political party that in Ghana which turned the independence struggle into a political movement, has been marked. President Akufo-Addo has been gracing the event at Salt Pond with other key party members. Speaking at the event, the Deputy Chief of Staff, Samuel Abujinapo, highlighted the essence of the celebration and reiterated it is not meant to belittle the efforts of Ghana's first President, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. He spoke to my colleague, Elton Bobe, earlier.
This time, as I've said many times, when the Ghana of today, the particulars and ingredients of the Ghana of today were conceived and articulated, was on this same day 70 years ago, right here in this beautiful town of Salt Pond, and right a minute away from here, the hall right here. That is where Pa Grant, as chairman of the UGCC, JB Dankwa, Akwa J, Obichebi Lamte, and several others, R.S. Blay and several others congregated and conceived and articulated this Ghana, a democratic Ghana, a Ghana that adheres to the tenets of rule of law, a Ghana that adheres to democratic accountability, a liberal, open society, consistent with the respect for human rights and free speech, and all the things that we all cherish so much today. Right. That cannot be, and I feel very sad when I hear those kinds of commentary. How does that denigrate Dr. Nkrumah's achievements or role in Ghanaian political history? How does celebrating 4th August being the date on which Aborigines Right Protest Society was founded and the Crown's Lands Bill Act of 1896 was defeated through the efforts of John Mensah, Sabah, Kisley Hayford, De Graaf Johnson and co. Denigrate Dr. Nkrumah? How does the formation of the UTCC? In any event, the UTCC itself was a platform on which Dr. Nkrumah came into politics in Ghana. So it cannot be that they are not mutually exclusive. They complement one another. We celebrated Sit March with Nkrumah's role in Ghana as the first president of our country. The president, independence president, is never been underestimated. The president himself has paid glowing tribute to him when he delivered his independence anniversary speech. There is nothing about denigrating Nkrumah in this. I think that we need to settle on the historical facts of our country. We can have differences of opinion, of inferences, of deductions. That, for me, is allowed. But truth be told, every major milestone of our country's history, political history, ought to be celebrated. We celebrated 28 February Crossroads, we celebrated 6th March, we celebrated July 1st. We are now celebrating 4th August, which significance I believe nobody can bring into dispute. Right. And I think that we need to unite as a country and forge ahead.
Now, pursuing a degree at any level in the university is not a walk in the park. It becomes even more complex when you decide to study a Ghanaian language after years of being taught in English. In the United Nations Education for All report, illiteracy is defined as the inability to speak and read one's local language. And I'm sure you're beginning to ask yourself if you're indeed literate. Well, you're not alone, because even though UNESCO has encouraged mother tongue instruction since 1953, monolingualism in official or dominant languages, which is in our case English, continues to be a norm. Maxwell Akpokpa has been speaking to a lady who did her PhD in Twi and actually did her report in Twi.
Said when I grow up, I'll become a news presenter. But me, I will not become an English news presenter, but I'll become a Twi, news presenter. And then they all burst into laughter as we are doing now, because it was uncommon then to hear the news being presented in the local language. Let me say, like in the Ewe, the Ga, or in Twi. So it was very funny then. But with the love for it, that is what I pursued, and now I'm a broadcaster in the Akan, and I love teaching too. But all the time I wanted to teach my local language. So Prof. Ejekum was one of my supervisors. Yes, and he's a lexicographer. If I would say that in Twi, in Semfuayefo. Yeah, they developed it.
In Semfuayefo.
Yeah, they. They are the semanticists, and then the terminologists. Yeah, so they have developed Akan terms. Yes, so that also helped me a lot, and I use the Akan dictionary. But most of the hard thinking, critical thinking work, I had to do them myself.
Let's call of you trying to nativize whatever that you were working on. We know that, for instance, you're writing a thesis. I mean, there's literature review. There are a lot of terms, that technical terms, yes. And you were supposed to, break all of them down, translate all of them, to Twi. Yes. You did that.
Oh yes, I did that. Yeah, something like, let's say methodology. For instance, we say jumedie hu akwankyere, and then someone no. Yeah, akwankyere, that is the direction. So you use that method. Theoretical framework. It's called Jumedie no Nyinaso. So that is the framework that you use to do the analysis.
I see Pempen Kasa ho impensemu.
Yes. Yeah, the Pempen Kasa are the insults, the invectives, the innuendos that are, I call them, overt innuendos. So no, I said that the faculty coin. So the person is insulting you, but they have a way of going round it. Yeah.
Introduction. How do they say it in Twi?
Introduction is Inienimu.
Which other word, difficult word, can you tell us about?
Yes.
The one that you have to translate here.
Yes, there's another one, indirection. That was one of the key words I used, because I looked at how they indirectly sometimes use words or manipulate words, or strategic use of language, to save your face. So indirection, I had to translate that into kwetikwan, or the assembly of kwetikwan, on fankotin, or the wada.
There are some people who say that if you look at our current world, it's now become fashionable. Well, let me say what is in vogue now is to have parents speaking English to their children. So even at school, at home, wherever you find them. And sometimes for children who are able to express themselves fluently, in English, people say, like, whoa, your child can speak so well. If you have a child who can speak Twi fluently, people go like, hey, akolabe,
when they were no more food, Papa, we are full man.
So I want to find out from you, what is the best way to go about this? There are people who say that, look, they can't speak Twi when they go to a UN, conference, for instance.
Yes, very interesting. I will start by saying that now the Twi language, and I'm sure our other local languages like the Ga and the Ewe and the others will follow suit. The Twi is now being taught at some universities in the US and in the UK, Switzerland, Ohio University, Yale University, New York University, and all that. So it is also going international. You are traditional, if you papa or pokasa oni, and so basically,
almost friends and domestic wisdom. And I said,
okay. Yeah, only we learn all that in our language, and other countries like the Chinese and other countries who use their language, like the Germans, you know how through their language they've been able to develop, you know, their country. So it's also important, but we should still learn the English and, you know.
Finally, before we go, there are some words that certainly, you know, usually are pronounced, you know, wrongly. I'm sure if you listen to the, you know, radio stations, you hear a lot of that. Maybe one or two, you want to mention some one or two that have been pronounced wrongly? You hear it and go like, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Yeah, you know, I think one has to do with the use of to me. Right, I presented paper. I just attended a conference, you know, a linguistics association conference, and presented a paper on that. To me, yeah, yes, we're to me a woo. Accident ni si ye no emma be miensa nipa be miensa tumi ewu nipa entumi wu okay wan kasa untumi wu ehia he has been able to die.
That's what I'm going to say.
you know can you yourself, unless it's suicide, you yourself wetumi ewu. Do you know when
yeah babe you nkomo ye kasa odi be jaya na mpese wo ka na wo twi na me anwani me ketwi nti mpese wonso wo ketwi na yemfa ntwa kasa we so
yo why are there pa twi no so utimi e ka ne kama pa that me ba na so wa kire me anwona say ye center ha ye kire nti no aba be kire me so me bi na matimi dia kire yo ne ameka ne say ye kasa no aye di twa ye fruma no eno so eboa yesua kasa no na ma wusua ne ama atwa ye ho ahia ne ama ya dwene ese etimi to ya dwenem na eda ya koma so ne etimi tu ho empon anase etu ho anamode ye bibi ede boa ye man no
ya bonkomo pa and we're talking about thesis way said there were they akan kasa di juma ene mrei wo radio ni TV so